Welcome back. As we promised that our main subject, our main issue, our main segment of this episode of Cairo Local Time is going to be dedicated to ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptian civilization is a treasure, and it's going all the time to amaze all the peoples from all over the world who come here in specific just to watch a glimpse of what was taking place here thousands of years ago. But unfortunately, if you can imagine, there are tens of thousands of monuments of pieces in the stores, in the storehouses, especially in the museum in Tahrir Square. So the idea came to build the new Grand Egyptian Museum, which is going to host tens of thousands, if even hundreds of thousands of pieces. This is going to be another exposure, and this is going to be another phase, another stage, another way to say to the whole world how the Egyptians were amazing thousands of years ago and how their civilization is unique to the extent that it's going to be eternal, and all the time we are going to discover secrets and secrets to say how much our ancestors really had given us a lot, and we should be proud of being Egyptians. To shed more light on that, we do have an expert, a professor in ancient Egypt civilization and the former dean of the Faculty of Archaeology. I'm very much honored and privileged to have with me Dr. Alaa Shaheen. Dr. Alaa, hello.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much for being with us in this special episode of Cairo Local Time.
I am so pleased to be here with you this evening.
And as I said, the gem or the Grand Egyptian Museum is going to be, inshallah, a new phase or a new gate which is going to be opened from Egypt to the whole world. First, better late than never. I mean, this is a step which we should have taken long ago, or is it a good timing?
You know that we have hundreds and hundreds of artifacts, basically in magazine. So the only most attractive one for us to display those artifacts nowadays in El Tahrir Square, ancient Egyptian museum. So we try to reorganize those materials, those artifacts within the same building. It's hard. This building almost now over 100 years.
Yeah.
117, if I am correct. So how to reorganize those artifacts within that building is difficult for us.
Sure.
So that idea came early in 2000. So it's better to have a new building, a new museum, and where. So from that point, 2002, ex-President Mubarak, ex-Minister of Culture,
Dr.
Farouk Hosni, choose that area within the framework of that attractive, the Plateau of Giza, where we have those famous pyramids of Giza.
Yeah.
So from that point came that idea to build a new museum to house those most valuable material, valuable artifact within that museum, and those also who could get it from the local museum or from the magazine all over Egypt. Why we chose this area, Giza Plateau, to have this new project, GEM, Grand Egyptian
No
Museum.
better place, by the way.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And if we look for that design for that museum, on the second floor we have this glass front. You will look from it toward the three great pyramids of Egypt, Giza. So I think I agree with you. We need to display those artifacts with a new atmosphere. And this great project is not just on a museum. If we know that we will have 100,000 artifacts displayed in that museum. 50 for the public and other in the store, in magazine, for this, you know, lately to be studied, to choose another artifact for a special exhibit to be displayed upstairs in this museum, and so on. So this is the way.
Sir, that the museum is going to have an educational role in addition to it as a touristic site?
In original plan, within that area, 112 acres, a huge area.
Sure.
We will have that building for the museum itself. We're supposed to have a museum for children. we're supposed to have a conference center. We will have like a workshop center to imitate that culture of ancient Egypt, to come alive, move through, maybe look like a little bit what we have nowadays in this village, Ragab village, Pharaonic village. To revive that culture, magnificent culture of Egypt. Sure, this culture, we have to give attraction to it. We have to give attention to.
You know, what's my dream? To have there a school to learn hieroglyphic.
Partially, we have it already nowadays within Egyptian Museum in Tahrir.
No, I mean on a greater scale.
Yeah, sure.
In the
maybe with this education center or conference center, we could have a special conference, a special workshop. Maybe. I think it's better. Yes, I agree with you.
You know, it's very much. I mean, for me at least, when a tourist or a foreigner came and he or she asked me to write his or her name in hieroglyphic, thinking that we do learn how to write in hieroglyphic in schools. So this is something which I cannot find an excuse why we do not learn hieroglyphic.
It comes to my mind now when I were in USA at Philadelphia, where we have this fantastic museum too, University Museum. This is the third most valuable special collection for Egyptian artifacts within USA, Metropolitan, Boston, and Philadelphia. So on Sunday, for the first time, I saw little young kids came with this sketch drawing and have their pen and just sitting in special section. It's called Memphite Hall. All of it came from Memphis. Columns, walls, statues, special for Ramses II, smiting enemies. We have reconstructed tomb. So look for those kids. Sit, watch, draw. From that point, it came that love of Egypt. They try lately to go to this land on which their papers drew some of its artifact. Could we do this here? We said for that again and again. Please, we have schools. Please, just this special lessons about the history. Let this kid or those children within these schools learn in different way their history. Guide those children away or students away from school. Go to the area itself. Go to the pyramid. Go to the tomb. Go to Luxor. Go to Aswan. Go to Sinai to see and watch. Make this emotional relationship between the man and
interaction.
And the land.
And giving the kids the impression that these things are theirs. I mean, to be able after that to preserve it, to maintain it, and to propagate for it. I mean, every one of us can be an ambassador to the Egyptian antiquities or to the Egyptian old civilization.
This is what we wish.
Let me take it from what you have said or the example you have given regarding the Museum, the the University Museum in Philadelphia. Can I compare the Grand Egyptian Museum to the big museums worldwide? I mean, I can put it in the list of the Hermitage, for example, in Moscow, or the Louvre in Paris, or even it's going to be bigger. Because in each place, in each of these museums, you are going to find a big room, or the biggest room was and still dedicated to the Egyptian monuments, which unfortunately were smuggled to these places.
Yes. I think this new Egyptian museum gem will be the best. The design, the new technology, communication, themes displayed within it. It will be supposed to be a center to communicate with all others, international museum and even our local museum. If you are looking for some specific artifact, sometimes we have a broken statue. Maybe the head in other place. Could you compare this with that? Could you connect it virtually? So this is the way. Displaying in virtual way. This is what we have in this new museum.
Okay.
So the space, the material, it will be displayed in it. I think, and these two levels, with this a grand gallery. Already we built the first statue on it, that statue of Ramses II. So imagine that you have those monuments telling you about your history from 3000 BC into the 4th century BC.
Yeah.
A long history. The Old Kingdom, and the biggest one, Middle Kingdom, third one, New Kingdom, and substitute or followed by decline or disintegration, FIP, second IP, third intermediate period. So you see your history in the greatest power and sometimes the decline and the why.
Yeah.
Why we have that disintegration, why we have this fraction with the unity of the land. Other part supposed to be displayed with this, the framework. Now, partially, if we are going to open it, and I wish if we open it once for all, it's not just only a special collection for King Tut. Because in our plan, when we worked on that specific scientific committee, I had a pleasure to be the chairman of that committee, to choose all of those monuments. So we know every piece supposed to be put in that building.
Yeah.
So we have a special section to our land, topography of Egypt, the Nile River itself, how is this Nile valuable for our history, the connection between man and the land.
Yeah.
This is so important to read that special relationship between those visitors from Egypt came to this land, to that imitated form of that desert Nile Valley and so on. Also, a special section will go to writing and the value of education in ancient Egypt. We consider the scribe the messenger of the Lord. This man who conveyed the word, the wisdom of the Lord who created this universe in ancient Egyptian thinking. So here to read that value for our modern people, respect that teacher. He is the man who gives you attitude, access to that
And
knowledge.
even the spiritual issues, sir. We were the first to know the soul and body, the Ka and Ba.
Sure.
We were the first to know about the resurrection, about having a doomsday, about having, even in science, we were the first to have an ER, an operation room, an emergency room. We were the first to do many things, cultivation, fire. We were the first to teach the whole world what a civilization is. But let me also take it from here to speak about the man and land relation, because this is for me, it's a very exciting issue. Because many people would think that the most important part of the Egyptian civilization lies in the south, only in Thebes.
No.
And that's it.
No.
Speaking these places, of course, Luxor or Thebes is one of the best places worldwide, and maybe more than 30% of the world monuments are there. But this does not mean that we do not have Memphis, that we do not have San al-Hagar, even in Zaqadiq or in Sharqiyya nowadays, that we do not have in Alexandria a lot of monuments representing the Roman period. For example, Egypt was the melting pot where all occupiers did not influence the Egyptians to be like them. We influenced the occupiers to be like us. And this is the unique way the Egyptian identity was preserved. Sir, how do you see this?
And I think this is a good point. How Egypt, at that long history, keep on its own identity.
Identity and language.
Usually, I said, Egypt is the only state in ancient world. Because this terminology, a state, it has to have a specific land with a specific border with the ethnic group. If you look to Egypt, we have the same border from Rifah, nowadays Rafah,
Yep.
into the same border with Libya, south with the second contract with Sudan, Nubia.
Yeah.
So if you look for our faces, we are the same people.
Yeah.
We called it the Mediterranean race, but this is special situation for Egypt. One place with one people and continuation, heritage from past to the present. So here we have, if you said, when you said just only Thebes, no. We have this 3,000 years within the pharaonic era or ancient Egyptian culture, we have different places. From where came that ruling dynasty? Is it from east or west, from north or south? Came, for example, we have the last political capital. It's called Sebentus, Thebnacher, Samanud nowadays in Gharbiya. This is the last place in which we have those rulers of the 30s dynasties. Before that, we have Memphis, as you said, we have Tanis, we have it's this fantastic Atun.
Yeah.
When we had this special cult center, place cult center, Akhet Atun, the horizon of the sun,
Yeah.
for King Akhenaten. I mean, he's the fourth.
Exactly, who turned to be Akhenaten after he announced that he is not anymore taking
Related to
Amen, but to the sun. And even King Tut was Tutankhamun, Aten first, before turning to be, converting to be, and by the will of the priests or by the big influencers these days, because he was that young. He was only 11 or 12 when he when he became the king, the boy king or the child king.
So this special situation with GEM collection, we have a special section also for the society.
Yeah.
Try to raise attention to how we are at the time, the relationship between the man and the land. We give attention also for military. So here, through those 3,000 years, we have different themes, topics, and related to this site with the panorama of Giza Plateau.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic point of view of that project. I wish if we did it the right way to finish so quick. We're supposed to open 2012. We are so late.
No, sir, but I think...
we suppose.
No, I think that such a big project should take time to be presented or to be introduced to the world in the most unique way, because it's going, as we said, to include or to host thousands, no, hundreds of thousands of monuments or pieces, and it's going to be very much organized. Each is going to present an era, for example. Each is going to present a segment. This is social, this is military, this is culture, this is educational, and it's going also to be opened for those specialists who are going to come from all over the world, I think, to continue their studies here regarding the Egyptian civilization. So I think we should take time to present to the whole world another gift.
This is what I wish.
Which is the Egyptian Museum.
Not to be in hurry, not to be partial opening for just only those collection of Tutankhamun. Do it as once. With this panorama, with every related center, because you have recreation area, you have theater, we have within the complex this replanting the plants from ancient Pharaoh in the open garden.
Yeah.
So look for those 120 acres filled with life.
Yeah.
It's not just only this small section with this small building.
Yeah. Sir, despite the fact that it's really bitter, and we do not want to speak about this as a kind of a source of sadness or sorrow, but yet, whenever we know how many visitors, for example, went and still go to the Berlin Museum, for example, to watch the head of Nefertiti. Nefertiti is the beauty came, or Al-Jamila Atat.
Yes.
And other things like other similar in the Louvre in Paris, and even the Rosetta Stella, for example, it's not here in Egypt, for example. And we are talking about very valuable pieces. How do you see the gym? As you said, it's going to be contacts between the gym and other places or other education institutions and museums. So maybe this kind of simulation or this kind of interaction is going to give us some, I mean...
This is what we hope.
Not argument, but it's going to be another way to say these things are ours. It's not the Germans, it's not the French, it's not the Russians. How do you see this? Because this is another issue which we should speak about.
This is a big problem because, you know, we have to follow this international law. When we have this UNESCO decree within the early 70s, all of those artifacts taken out of their homeland before that time, not belonging legally for them.
Yes.
What you have got it out of your land after that, and you could prove it that you ours, or those related to you, you will get it back. This is a problem. So we have this problem now with Nefertiti, with Zodiac, with Rosetta Stone, with Ham Unit, the engineer who built that great pyramid of the Giza. So how we got it back,
he was
it's
a doctor,
hard.
he was a physician, he was a poet, he was a man of letter, he was an encyclopedia walking on too.
Yeah, so this is a problem, how to handle this with what you're supposed to have it within your homeland, within this special collection in your homeland. So we try sometimes this inter-loan, this regular situation. When we plan to open this Atom Museum at Almenia Governorate, we ask just lend that statue.
Lend us our things.
Yes, it's ours, but we ask, please, let this statue come to sit just side by side by her husband. I can add on temporary loan for 2 months, 3 months. I'll go back to Berlin. They said, no, if you got it, you will not get it back.
Yeah.
This is a problem. But anyway, let us hope within that, kind of cooperation, international cooperation, conference, education, workshop, to work together again with that frame of communication. The problem now with this museum in Tahrir Square, and I think we are so late to handle the situation. You will get out of that museum the best. We still have some. This youth collection, this Tanis mosque, those remains for other artifacts. In early century of our century, we planned, could we change the theme of that museum? It's supposed to be Egyptian collection.
Yeah.
Could we do it as a history of art? And devote every artifact to this new project, GEM? The third international project and fantastic one at Ain Sira, this Museum of Culture. This is supposed to be dealing with the history of technology in ancient Egypt into modern time. So have 3 projects with 3 different themes. The problem is that we are so late to handle that situation with Egyptian Museum. I think Ministry of Archaeology already asked for a special committee to handle the situation. Dr. Khalid, yes, to handle the situation, to reorganize the material. Could we do it in a good way? Because I don't like to have in one city, a political capital of Egypt, 2 Egyptian museums. So, yes, change the function of that museum, the theme. We still have a good, and we already started when we have those special scientific committee. Each museum has its own scientific committee, work on its special collection. We make balance between those 3 museums at that time, and we try to give every museum what is related to it. So we give mummies to a culture museum, because those dealing with mummification, processing, and so on and so. And yes, this museum devoted to the art of ancient Egypt. It deserves to have a special collection and a special museum.
And if I do remember, please correct me if I'm wrong, that another discovery was announced recently by His Excellency Dr. Khalid Al-Anani, Minister of Antiquities, regarding a workshop for mummification. And I think that this workshop may at least give us some of the secrets of mummification in ancient Egypt.
Yeah, this new discovery with Giza Saqqara, with Saqqara necropolis, and I think it's a good one because it gives us access to how it look like and how to deal with that, and will facilitate more knowledge. Every discovery, even a small piece, could change our history.
Sure.
And this is the value of archaeology and the value of the science of Egyptology. Now, we don't have a fixed date. We could rearrange, we could redate our material. We could handle this situation, and tomorrow, after tomorrow, no, we are wrong, we have to do it in a different way. This is a scientific research, and this is the value of our culture.
Till the moment, sir, nobody knew exactly how King Tut was, if he was killed, if he
different
died.
Theories.
There are a lot of different theories, and each time we do have an extra here, for example, oh, there is a broken, for example, bone in his skull. No, he had a broken knee, for example. No, he had something wrong. It was something genetic, you know. Whenever we do have much modernized techniques, we discover more things.
Sure.
But since we are speaking about science and about how science can help us to discover more of the secrets of the ancient civilizations, even before going to air, we were speaking about this restoration issue. Because this is another story. And you were kindly mentioning some even of the names, that there are many Egyptian scientists who are very much specified in a restoration, and their names are written worldwide in the records, in the world recognized books. How do you see this, and how do you see the role role of restoration and our restoration scientists in the coming period?
I think our colleague in the field of restoration consider one of the best. Basically, we started to, deal with a colleague from USA, from Bolgetti Institute. This is a special institute and restoration field. Good. We could have that knowledge of the foreign people, and also we have our own scholars.
Sure.
We could communicate between this and that to work on that culture, that heritage.
Yeah.
We consider this artifact, Egyptian artifact, it's not us. Yeah, it's belonging for us, and this is our land, but this looks like an international heritage.
Yeah.
And we like that because everyone likes to see that on this land. So when we had this project on early 2002, and we start to have this architecture competition to look like, how look like this building, we're supposed to have it for GEM project. And finally we chose it on 2003, and we started 2006 to move this statue from Ramses and so on. So within this area, in this early decade of that century, we start to have a magazine, and this is special restoration center within the same complex of the museum, but this underneath by 10 meters.
Yeah.
And this center had at least now 17 specialized labs, work within it specialized Egyptian scholars in the field for dealing with metal, with bones, with wood, and so on.
Wood and so on. Well, Professor Dr. Alaa Shaheen, former Dean of the Faculty of Archaeology, Cairo University, and Professor of Ancient Egyptian Civilization, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good afternoon.
You are welcome.
Well, by this, we come to the end of this special episode of Cairo Local Time. Till we meet again, same time on Nile TV International. Tomorrow is another crew, and tomorrow is another day, but stay tuned always and forever on our channel. And for more details, please log on to www.nileinternational.net. Many thanks for watching. This was Nile.